I know how this is going to sound. Hell, if I were you sitting behind a screen and reading this, I wouldn't believe it either. But I'm not trying to scare anyone. I'm not even trying to entertain. I need to get this off my chest before I lose my nerve. Last fall, I went camping in Yellowstone National Park. I've done solo backpacking trips for years, Alaska, Wyoming, Colorado. This one was supposed to be like the rest. A week off the grid, just me, my pack, and the mountains. No phone, no news, no noise. I had a route planned through some of the backcountry, one of the more obscure trails on the far edge of the park. That's where the weird part starts. I stopped at a tiny ranger station off a gravel road. The place looked like it hadn't been used in decades. Shingles missing, chimney cracked, the porch slightly sunken. I only went up because I wanted to sign the logbook in case anything went wrong. That's common practice for solo hikers. But there wasn't a logbook. Instead, nailed to the wall just outside the station was a slab of weathered pine, like someone had chainsawed off part of a tree and dragged it up here. It had a list carved into it, not written, carved. Deep, deliberate grooves like someone spent hours gouging each letter. I'll never forget what it said. Rules for the backwoods trail. 1. Don't camp near the stone circle. 2. If the wind stops, freeze. 3. Don't answer voices after dark. 4. Burn your trash before sleeping. 5. If you see yourself, kill it before it speaks. I thought it was a joke. Some local ranger with a sense of humor trying to mess with city folks. Still, the last line stuck with me like a fishhook. Something about it felt wrong, like it was meant for someone. Me. I was reading it again when someone cleared their throat behind me. I jumped. An older man in a faded ranger uniform stood at the edge of the trees, half in shadow, half in sunlight. He didn't smile, didn't wave. You read the rules? He asked. I nodded. Yeah. What's with the last one? He didn't blink. You read it. That's what matters. Stick to the trail. Don't stay more than 2 nights. And then he turned and walked into the forest. No truck, no trail, just trees. I should have left right then. I should have taken it as a sign. But I'd waited months for this trip, so I laughed it off, took a picture of the rules with my phone and started hiking. That night, around 3 a.m., the wind stopped. Completely. Not a leaf stirred, not a branch creaked, and I swear to you, something was watching me just beyond the firelight. I didn't move. The fire crackled soft and low, and I stayed as still as I could, kneeling in my sleeping bag like I was praying to something older than God. The trees around my camp had become silhouettes, tall, stiff, lifeless. The kind of silence I felt that night wasn't normal. It wasn't peaceful. It was the silence of something holding its breath, waiting. After what felt like an hour, but must have been only minutes, the wind came back, just a whisper. The pine needles rustled again. The branches creaked gently above. It was like the forest exhaled, and whatever was watching me was gone. I didn't sleep the rest of that night. The next morning I climbed to a ridge where I could get some sun and clear my head. That's when I looked back at the picture I took of the wooden slab at the ranger station. The list was still there, clear as ever, but I noticed something strange I hadn't seen before. Beneath the last rule, if you see yourself, kill it before it speaks, was a faint 6th line, barely etched, like someone had started to carve it but stopped. I couldn't make it out fully, just the top of some letters. Maybe an unfinished warning. I remembered the ranger then. The man who came out of the trees without a sound. His uniform had been outdated, something from decades ago, and he never introduced himself, never gave a name, just asked if I read the rules and told me not to stay more than 2 nights. I pulled out my map, and something else hit me. The trail I was on, the one I'd carefully marked online weeks before, wasn't printed on the official Yellowstone map. Not even a dotted line. Just a blank expanse of green with a faint hand-drawn path in pencil from some hiker who'd passed it on a forum. That should have been another red flag. But I was stubborn. I told myself it was just an unofficial route. Happens all the time in national parks. Still, I decided to keep a mental note of the rules, and that evening, as I was setting up camp deeper into the woods, I noticed something in the dirt just outside the perimeter of my tent. Footprints. They weren't mine. I wear size 11 hiking boots, big wide prints with deep treads. These were barefoot, narrow, human-shaped, and they were facing my tent, like someone had been standing there, watching, while I wasn't looking. I scanned the trees, heart thumping. Nothing, no movement, no sound. Then, just as I knelt to sweep the prints away, I heard a voice. Mine, soft, from deep in the woods. "Hey, come here, I need help." The sun was still up, and I hadn't spoken a single word all day. I froze mid-step. The voice was mine. Not similar, exact. The cadence, the slight rasp, the way I hit the H in hey. It came from maybe 30 yards into the trees off to the left of my camp. Quiet, but just loud enough to hear. "Hey, come here, I need help." Same tone, same inflection. Only I hadn't said a word that day, not even to myself. I backed slowly toward my fire pit, not taking my eyes off the tree line. Every instinct screamed at me not to respond. I remembered the third rule on the list. Don't answer voices after dark. The sun hadn't fully dipped below the horizon, but it was close. That voice knew it. It was pushing the boundary, and then it spoke again. Just one word this time, one I hadn't expected. "Please." It sounded afraid now, desperate, like a recording of me pleading for help. But I'd never recorded that. I'd never said it. I forced myself to look down and finish sweeping away the prints. They'd dried slightly in the late sun, but I could still make out the toes. The arches, one foot slightly turned inward, like whoever stood there had been shifting in place. I lit the fire higher, feeding it dry pine needles and sticks until it roared. The woods around me dimmed, shadows stretching long and thin. Whatever had spoken didn't repeat itself, it just waited. I could feel it. The forest had gone still again, but not silent. This wasn't the same unnerving hush from the night before. This was tension, contained breath. The sound of the fire became the only grounding noise I had. Later that night, I sat with my back to the fire, headlamp swinging side to side. I didn't want anything sneaking up behind me. When the wind picked up again, it was like the woods finally blinked. The pressure lifted. The feeling of being watched faded, just slightly. Then the breathing started. Not mine, not the forest's. Something just outside the halo of firelight started mimicking my breathing. Inhale, exhale, shallow, then deep. The rhythm was perfect, too perfect. It even hiccuped once when I choked slightly on smoke. I stayed rooted to the ground, clutching my small hunting knife like it could save me. The imitation didn't stop until the fire burned low around 4 a.m. Only then did it fade, step by step, like someone walking backward into the trees, never breaking rhythm. At first light, I packed up and left, didn't even eat. I figured I'd hike another mile or two and set camp near one of the creeks I'd marked earlier. But as I rounded the ridge, I saw something that made my stomach turn. Down in the hollow below was a circle of stones, tall, mossy, deliberately arranged, and in the center something moved. I crouched low behind a ridge of scrub pine, watching the clearing below. The stone circle couldn't have been natural. The rocks were too evenly spaced, too vertical, too deliberately weathered. 10 of them, maybe more, arranged in a near-perfect ring. Each stood about 5 feet tall, their tops jagged like broken teeth. Moss grew in thick mats over their bases, but the upper halves were strangely bare, as if nothing dared cling to them too long. And something moved in the center. At first I thought it was a deer, a slow, jerking shadow shifting among the rocks. But the way it moved didn't match anything I'd seen before. Stiff, like each limb had to remember how to function. It turned and faced the ridge, though I couldn't see a face, just the shape of a person. And then it waved. I ducked, heart slamming in my chest. Had it seen me? I waited 5 minutes before daring to peek again. The clearing was empty, the figure gone. I should have turned back, should have marked my trail and hiked back to the ranger station, weird rules and all. But something pulled me down into that hollow. Not curiosity exactly, something deeper, like the pull you feel when you stare too long over the edge of a cliff and wonder what it'd be like to fall. I made camp near the circle. Then I approached the circle slowly, eyes flicking from stone to stone. They loomed taller as I got closer, their surfaces etched with deep gouges like something had clawed at them. In the middle was a flat waist-high stone, a kind of altar. Something lay on top of it, wrapped in a filthy canvas tarp. My hand moved before I could stop it. I reached out and touched one of the standing stones. It was ice cold. Immediately, my vision went black for a blink, just a blink. But when I opened my eyes again, the sun was down. The entire clearing had shifted into darkness, and my watch read 9:48 p.m. I'd lost 5 hours. The fire was out. My gear gone. I stumbled backward, heart pounding. The forest around the circle was alive with rustling, faint breathing, shifting shapes just outside my vision. And worst of all, a voice from the woods whispered, "You broke the rule." I ran. I didn't stop to check the altar, didn't bother looking for my pack. I sprinted through the trees, branches tearing at my arms and face, until I found the remnants of my previous campsite. Everything was still there, tent, bag, fire pit, like nothing had happened, like I'd imagined the whole thing. But when I checked my phone, the picture I'd taken of the rules now had a 6th line at the bottom. "Do not enter the circle." And the text hadn't been there the night before. That night I didn't light a fire. I know, stupid. But I couldn't stop thinking about the rules. I'd already broken 2. I'd entered the stone circle, and I hadn't burned my trash the night before. If something was watching, I didn't want to give it a spotlight this time. Instead, I sat inside my tent, zipped up tight, headlamp off, knife resting across my lap. The dark pressed in from all sides, thick and humid, as if the forest itself was leaning against the nylon. Around midnight it started. First came the shuffling, soft like something pacing slowly around the tent, dry pine needles crunching under bare feet. Then came the breathing again. Inhale, exhale, shallow, deep, then shallow again, perfectly in sync with mine. I clenched my jaw and tried not to panic. I remembered the voice from before, and I remembered the rule. Don't answer voices after dark. But the thing out there had a new trick. It spoke. "Hey, bud, you asleep?" It was me, my voice, my casual tone, like I was talking to a friend. Silence, then softer. "It's okay, I found a shortcut. Come check it out." The way it said shortcut made my skin crawl. I never used that word, ever. It felt forced. Off, like someone trying to sound natural and just missing the mark. Then it said something that nearly made me scream. "Remember that time with Dad at the lake, when the canoe tipped?" I hadn't thought about that in years. Nobody else would know. Nobody. My breath caught in my throat. A zipper scraped from outside. My pack. It was opening my gear. I heard items being shifted, tossed, pawed through. Then a pause. The breathing returned, right outside the tent wall. Then it spoke again, a whisper so close I felt it vibrate through the nylon. "You didn't burn your trash." I bolted up, fumbling for my flashlight, flicked it on and burst out of the tent. No one, just the wind picking up, whispering through the trees like the forest had exhaled again. But my pack had been unzipped, its contents scattered. My food was half gone, my canteen bitten through, and beside it, neatly folded on top of my map, was a piece of crumpled plastic wrap, the kind I'd used to pack my trail mix. It had writing scrawled across it in black marker. I didn't own a marker, just 2 words. Too late. I didn't sleep. Just sat there, knife in hand, watching the woods twitch and shift until dawn finally came. But when the sun rose and I packed my things, I noticed something else, something I couldn't explain. There were 2 sets of footprints leading away from my camp. Both were mine. I didn't wait. I didn't eat. I didn't drink. The moment the sun broke over the trees, I gathered every scrap of trash I had, food wrappers, used tissues, even lint from my pocket, and dumped it into the fire pit. I doused it in fuel from my stove and lit it with shaking hands. The flames whooshed to life, bright orange and furious. I stepped back, watching it all burn. The wrappers curled, the plastic snapped, the smoke rose in heavy, greasy plumes. Then the fire turned green. Not the whole thing. Just a flicker at first, a sickly streak curling up from the center like a glowing serpent. The green pulse lasted only seconds, but it was enough. Something in the forest screamed. It wasn't an animal. It wasn't wind through trees. It was wrong. High-pitched, rising and falling like laughter and sobbing wrapped into one. Then it stopped. Everything stopped. The flames returned to normal. The birds vanished. The woods went still. I looked around, every hair on my body standing on end. In the silence, I heard something dragging across bark. A slow, wet scraping. Then another voice, my voice again, this time calm, measured, just beyond the tree line. "You finally burned it. Good. You're learning." I didn't speak. I couldn't. Instead, I stood there watching as the trees just beyond my camp shifted. Not moved, shifted, like something massive was passing behind them, warping the trunks with its weight. But there were no footsteps, just movement, pressure. The green smoke still clung to the treetops like fog. I packed quickly and moved. I didn't care about the route anymore. I followed my compass and aimed southwest, toward where I remembered the ranger station being. But the forest wouldn't let me out. Every path bent back. Every incline I climbed showed me a view I'd already seen. I began to notice trees with the same branch formations repeating, as if someone had copied and pasted the woods over and over around me. I carved a mark into one trunk with my knife, just a small X. Half a mile later, I passed it again and again. On the third pass, my mark had changed. It wasn't just an X anymore. It was a circle, with a dot in the middle. And I hadn't carved that. That night, I camped under an overhang, lighting another fire and burning everything I could spare, even old receipts in my wallet, just to be safe. I didn't cook. I didn't sleep. And just past midnight, something crept into camp and sat just at the edge of the light. I couldn't see it clearly, only the shape of a man. My shape. Same jacket, same boots. But the head was tilted too far to one side, and it never blinked. I stared at it for what felt like hours. It didn't move, not even the gentle sway of someone standing still. It stood there, absolutely motionless, like a mannequin set in place. My breath was shallow, my eyes watering from not blinking. Every time I even thought about looking away, a sickening knot twisted in my gut. The fire crackled between us, casting flickering shadows that danced across its jacket, my jacket, and its face, which was locked in a neutral, almost bored expression. Its head was tilted unnaturally far, the neck crooked like a broken hanger. Still, it didn't blink, didn't breathe. I didn't dare move. I remembered the rule. If you see yourself, kill it before it speaks. But what if I got it wrong? What if attacking it made things worse? And then it did move, just once. Its mouth opened, no sound, just a slow, dry crack as the jaw unhinged, like bones grinding together. Then it shut again, a statement, not a threat. I grabbed my hunting knife and took a shaky step toward the fire. It didn't react. Another step, still nothing. Then I blinked, just once. It was gone. The woods were empty, but I could feel it wasn't over. The air still hummed with tension. I circled the fire twice, knife drawn, trying to convince myself I'd imagined it. That maybe it had been a hallucination, lack of sleep, stress, fear. But I knew better. My body knew better. Every part of me screamed, "You are not alone." At dawn I hiked hard, no breaks, no water stops, just movement. I don't even know which direction I was going anymore. My compass needle had started spinning in circles sometime during the night. Around midday I stumbled across a small clearing, flat, silent, choked with dry grass, and standing in the center of it was a man. He looked like a hiker, khaki pants, faded red jacket, backpack slung low, but he wasn't moving at all. Arms straight at his sides, head perfectly upright, staring at nothing. I called out. No response. I walked closer, cautiously, calling again. Still nothing. When I got within 20 feet, I saw the skin on his hands was cracked and gray like bark. His eyes were open wide, glassy, unfocused. Then he spoke. His lips didn't move, but the words came out clear and slow. "The stones open the path. Don't follow it." He didn't blink, didn't shift. I took a step back. He repeated the phrase, exactly the same. "The stones open the path. Don't follow it." Then, without warning, his body tilted forward slightly, just a few degrees, like a doll losing balance. I turned and ran, not looking back. Even when I heard him start to follow, one step at a time, slow and scraping, I never turned around. By the time I stopped running, the sun was almost gone. My lungs burned, my legs ached. The back of my neck prickled with the certainty that something had followed me all the way here. But when I looked back, the woods were empty. I collapsed near a shallow ravine and set up camp without thinking. I was too exhausted to care about food or fire. I just needed a few minutes to breathe, to make sense of what was happening. My brain was a mess of overlapping memories, rules, voices, green fire, the copy of me that didn't blink. The guy in the red jacket. His voice still echoed in my skull like a skipping record. The stones open the path, don't follow it. What path? Had I already stepped on it? In the fading light, I pulled out my phone again to look at the photo of the rules. That's when my stomach dropped. There was a new rule, carved into the wood like it had always been there. Not photoshopped, not glitched, just sitting there plain as day. If you see yourself, don't run. Kill it before it speaks. It was different. Before, the fifth rule had said, kill it before it speaks, but not don't run. That part was new. That part was meant for me. I zoomed in, trying to find any sign that it was fake. But the grain of the wood flowed through the letters perfectly, like it had been there for years. My hands trembled. The forest around me leaned in, darker now, thicker. I suddenly realized how far from everything I'd wandered. No trails, no rivers, no ridgelines I recognized. I wasn't lost. I'd been led. And that's when I heard it, from across the ravine. A soft grunt, the crunch of leaves, slow footsteps, measured, careful. I clicked off my headlamp and crouched low, peering through the trees. Across the narrow trench, barely lit by the dying sky, I saw someone crouching. Same posture, same jacket, same backpack, same everything. It was me. It tilted its head just slightly and smiled. A slow, unfamiliar smile that didn't belong on my face. Not a grin, not malicious, just wrong, practiced, like it was rehearsing. I didn't move. I couldn't. Then from behind me I heard a stick snap, just one. I spun around. Nothing. When I looked back across the ravine, it was gone. No footprints, no sound, no presence. I should have run. I should have screamed. But I knew the rule. If you see yourself, don't run. I climbed into my tent, knife in hand, every muscle twitching. That night, the wind never came, and I knew something was waiting for me to break the last rule. I barely slept. My thoughts chased each other in circles like starving wolves. Every sound outside the tent felt louder than it should have. Every twig snap, every rustle of leaves, every low groan of wind pushing through the trees. If it was even wind anymore. The new rule haunted me. If you see yourself, don't run. Kill it before it speaks. It wasn't just a warning, it was a test. Something in these woods wanted me to fail. Sometime near dawn, I stepped out of the tent, blade still in hand, and scanned the tree line. The forest was dim, bathed in the sickly pre-dawn blue that always makes shadows stretch longer than they should. And then I saw him. Across the small ravine, standing perfectly still where I'd seen him before. Me. Same stubble on the chin, same frayed sleeve on the jacket, same nervous tightness around the eyes. But he wasn't smiling now. He was watching me, studying. He took one slow step forward. I hesitated. I should have run. No, I should have followed the rule. But my mind twisted with doubt. What if I was wrong? What if the rule was a trick? What if this was some survivor who looked like me, trying to ask for help? Or worse, what if I was the copy? He opened his mouth. That's when I knew I'd made the wrong choice. He didn't speak in my voice, he spoke in my thoughts. Not out loud, not even whispered, just suddenly inside my head. Too slow, he said. I staggered back, clutching my skull like the pressure would crack bone. My vision split sideways. The forest shuddered, like a ripple across a mirror. Trees bent inward. Roots heaved out of the soil. The air went cold and thick, like syrup. My limbs went heavy. My breath caught mid-throat. Across from me, the other me stepped forward again and smiled. Not the awkward smile from before. This one was wide, split, as if his jaw no longer remembered how to be human. I tried to raise the knife, but my fingers wouldn't close. My body didn't feel like mine anymore. It was like someone else had climbed inside and started pulling the levers. Behind me, the world bent inward. A sound like cracking ice and roaring water swelled in my ears. I could feel it coming, something massive, older than thought, peeling its way toward this place. Through the haze, I saw the doppelganger pick up my dropped knife. He nodded once, then turned, walked calmly back into the woods and disappeared. And I was left in the hollow, eyes wide, mouth open, paralyzed in place, like a marionette with its strings suddenly cut. I'd broken the wrong rule, and now it was wearing my skin. I don't remember collapsing. I don't remember screaming. The next clear memory I have is waking up in a dim cabin bundled in a wool blanket that smelled like smoke and cedar. A wood stove crackled softly in the corner. An old lantern hung from a hook in the ceiling. My gear was piled neatly near the door as if someone had recovered it piece by piece. And sitting in a chair across from me was him, the ranger I'd seen before, the one who warned me at the start of the trail, the one who didn't smile. "You're lucky," he said without turning. "Most folks don't come back from there." I tried to speak, but my throat was raw. He handed me a mug of something warm and bitter. "You remember the rules?" he asked. I nodded. He turned toward me, eyes like river stones, gray, smooth, unreadable. "They change for a reason. I saw myself," I croaked. "I know," he said. "And it saw you." I blinked. "What is it?" He didn't answer for a long time, just looked at the wall where a large map of the park was pinned. Most of it was normal, marked trails, campsites, rivers, but one corner, near the bottom, had been scratched out entirely. Dozens of X's, circles, notes in shorthand I couldn't decipher. "You were never supposed to go in that far," he muttered. "That trail's not on any map anymore for a reason." He finally stood and walked to the door. "You're going to feel strange for a while. Don't trust mirrors. Don't follow any voices you hear at night. If you dream of stone circles, wake yourself up before you walk." I sat there, stunned. "That thing, it took my place, didn't it?" He looked at me with something like pity. "No, it let you live." "Why?" I asked. "I don't know. Just be grateful you're alive." He opened the door. Morning light poured in. Fresh snow blanketed the trees. My breath fogged the air, but as I stepped outside, I caught sight of the small mirror nailed beside the door frame. I stopped. The ranger walked past me, down the steps, not noticing, because my reflection didn't move. It just stared at me with a blank face. My face, but colder, hungrier. One eye slightly out of sync, blinking a moment too late. I turned away, heart hammering, and refused to look again. Now I'm back in civilization, back where the forest can't see me, but I keep curtains drawn. I don't speak to strangers who say they know me, and I burn everything I use. Sometimes in the middle of the night, I hear my voice outside the window. It tells me it's cold. It asks to come in. But I never answer. I just sit in the dark, watching the mirror out of the corner of my eye, and wait for it to blink again. Hey guys, if you like my videos, please like and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it, thanks. And also let me know where y'all are watching from and at what time. I'm curious.